How you doing, girl?
Good. As you can see, I'm in Aruba with the.
You tried it. You tried it.
I mean, wishful thinking.
Yeah.
What else can we do these days? Wishful thinking. Yes. How are you?
I am good, girl. How are you? We're back, honey. We are back.
Yeah, we are. Y'all, we did not plan this look situation. We just happened to match because divas think alike, great divas. So yeah, it feels good to be back. Hey y'all, we missed you.
It does. And, of course, you guys make sure that you are following in throughout the whole entire show, chiming in, let us know what you think, get in on this interview that we're going to have. I'm super excited. We have some lovely ladies who are joining us later. And of course, we're talking about all the current topics and headlines that are happening. But before we do any of that, we have to do our check-in. So, precious girl, how you doing?
This break was very much needed to catch up, get reorganized, to go through all the life changes that have been happening. So right now in this space, in this current time, I feel great. How about you?
Girl, I'm glad to hear that. Yes, I am okay. And the only reason why I say I'm okay is because, of course, we're all going through something, and I'm grateful for everything that has happened, everything that I'm going through. So I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm great, because that would be lying. So I'm okay. I'm good. I'm a good okay, if that makes sense.
I understand. I'm with you. I understand.
Okay.
We here.
But let's get into our first topic of the day. Precious, do you want to kick it off, girl?
Megan Thee Stallion went to New York Times to do a whole op-ed about women and the protection of women, especially Black women, but all women essentially. But she told her personal story of her issue with Tory Lanez and being shot twice. And it didn't even make sense because she kind of said that it wasn't really a relationship. It didn't make sense where all this anger and animosity came from and violence. And I don't know, even if they weren't a relationship, what would warrant him to just pop off, literally, and shoot her for what?
Exactly.
It didn't make any sense.
And that's the biggest issue, because I'm seeing a lot of people who are defending him. And my thought process is, first of all, I don't understand why. Because as you said, I don't really know what would warrant someone to shoot someone. I can understand cussing someone out, but just for it to completely go far to the left and just shoot them, it doesn't make any sense. And then I can't feel sorry or sympathize or want to hear your side of the story when you strategically dropped an album trying to get, sales and streams so we could hear your story, instead of you just being open and honest and saying, okay, guys, this is my side of the story. This is what happened. I regret it. I'm remorseful, whatever. But no, you wanted people to actually contribute to your pockets, and that I'm not here for. So, I already lost respect for him, but I lost even more respect after he did that. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, really? A lot of people kind of turn it into a meme, made fun of it. And I think it's because the society has been desensitized to when it comes to violence, especially against women and Black women in general. Exactly. And the way to cope with it is to make a joke out of it, or make a meme, or just try to be funny. But I commend Megan Thee Stallion for taking her platform and not running away from this issue, not backing down. Her taking her spotlight on SNL, huge spotlight.
Exactly.
Breonna Taylor, and to speak out against Daniel Cameron and all the atrocities that happened to Black women in particular. And then now to go with New York Times and do this op-ed piece, I commend her for that. So,
and I think we actually do have a clip of that. Just to warn you guys, there is, some language there, but let's go ahead and roll just a little bit of it.
What does it mean to be a woman of color?
Angry Black are usually angry about something.
She's got to be strong because that's just the expectation. Loving herself, but not too much, because then she's conceited. Being his lady in the streets, but his freak in the sheets. Inheriting her grandma's love, but always loving the wrong one. Twerking for her man, but not with her friends. Being constantly told she's too much or not enough.
The most disrespected person is the Black woman.
Constantly having to prove she's a victim because society sides with a man. Not being able to express her traumas because she can't show no weakness. is constantly told that she's too dark, too thin, too thick, too much of a bitch. Being murdered, beaten, abused, then questioned if she evoked all of it. It's left out on.
And it goes on for a couple more minutes long. I think the whole entire clip is about 1 minute and 30 seconds. But as you said, I commend her for using her platform. I commend the New York Times for allowing her to be heard and just telling the narratives. Yes, my earring. And telling the narratives of so many Black women who can relate to this, you know, where essentially you just don't feel heard because society doesn't think that you're important.
Right. Just thrown away. Carry all of society's ills and flaws, but at the same time be thrown away when you complain about it.
Exactly, which leads us into our next topic, Breonna Taylor. And, you know, her boyfriend decided to speak out. He had an exclusive interview with Gayle King on CBS. And I'm glad that he actually took the time to speak out and say something, because of course, you know, you're reading the blogs, you're reading the stories, and everyone's assuming, you know, you have this one witness that, you know, is constantly changing their story saying that, you know, the police announced themselves, but, you know, no one else is saying that. So essentially he gave his account of what happened that night and said, you know, he did not hear the police say anything. He didn't know. And had he known, he never would have drew his gun. So let's actually, you know, roll that clip of that interview.
Have a clue. That's why I grabbed the gun.
Yeah.
Didn't have a clue. I mean, if it was the police at the door and they just said we're the police, me or Breonna didn't have a reason at all not to open the door and see what they wanted.
But did it ever cross your mind, a heavy knock like that, maybe it's the police?
That's why I never thought it was the police, because why would the police be coming here?
And I mean, he makes a good point.
He does. And with all the evidence that's coming out now after the indictment or lack of indictment, you have the police saying that they knew that the packages that they were getting were Amazon packages, not drugs related. They knew it was the wrong home. They had their footage showing exactly what happened. And then when they walked into the home, viewing her body, saying, oh, she's done for, when in fact she wasn't done for. She was still alive at that moment, but them saying at that time. So there's a lot of fishiness, a lot of craziness that's going on with this case. We've known that from the beginning, but now to actually see the hardcore evidence about that confirms it is just mind-blowing that stuff like this is allowed to happen. It has been allowed to happen, and it's still happening. Even at Tatiana Jefferson, her whole family is essentially gone now, but her name is not out here anymore. All these other, you know, people that we don't even know their names, we don't even know their stories, and they're just starting to come out. It's like, how much more of this do we have to go through? Exactly.
You know, I mean, which made me love Megan Thee Stallion's piece so much more, you know. But it's a shame because the only charges pressed against the cop were for the bullets that didn't hit this girl. You know, just like, what world are we living in where you're like, oh, it's wrong for you to shoot at someone else's drywall, but not to kill someone, but the drywall? Like, what? How do you sleep at night? How do you comfortably go back to your family, friends, or whatever, knowing what you did, knowing that, you know, you guys were completely and utterly wrong, regardless of, you know, if he shot back? I mean, he was in his home, so he had every right to, you know, regardless of if there was any sort of drug activity, you shot her. You killed her. And then everyone literally, I keep telling myself I need to stop reading these comments, but when I'm seeing the comments of, well, her family shouldn't have taken the money, and he never should have shot back, and he never, and she never, and y'all never, and could never. Why is it always some sort of excuse when it comes to us?
It is. It's nothing can ever be right.
Never.
Oh, you got put up by the police. Don't say anything, because if you say something, you're popping off at the mouth, then you deserve to get. No, they are not the executioner. That is not their job. Their job is to apprehend. That's it. Not to
just like you apprehend people with their skin tone. You can do the same thing for us.
They shot so many shots into that apartment. There was bullet holes in the soap in the bathroom. What? How about we humanize Breonna Taylor? Yes, she is a symbol for justice that we are fighting for, but let's humanize her. She was a 26-year-old woman. Skin and flesh and blood and bones, just like the rest of us. And she is not here anymore because of ill injustice that is done in this country.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's remember that.
And I want y'all to remember this as we go into our next topic of 45 and Joe Biden. If you guys have not heard that they are canceling the debate, it was going to be virtual, but for, obvious reasons, 45 didn't want to participate because it's easier to mute somebody when it is virtual. So now they are holding separate town halls, and ironically, the town halls are being taken place on the same day at the same time on different networks, which a lot of people are upset about because some people feel as though it's not fair to either or person if you want to just listen to whatever it is that they have to say. But what amazes me is the fact that this man is so childish and how he is essentially treating COVID. Like his new platform now is, oh, COVID's not that bad. I survived and I'm okay. And I don't need a mask. And I would kiss every single one of you. I would kiss the men, kiss the women, kiss you beautiful people. These are actual words that he spoke at his rally in Florida. But you're literally just being so irresponsible and so idiotic. And I don't understand what's going on anymore. I don't.
The lack of decorum that this man has, the lack of decency, the lack of respect, the lack of humanity, just anything that this man has, the fact that his neck looked like that in that picture, all those things. My question is, how can you vote? I don't care what party you belong to. How can you vote for a man like that?
Exactly.
How?
Exactly.
How, as a quote-unquote Christian, what ideals does he carry that follows Jesus Christ? Please tell me, because I want to know. I thought I do. Apparently I don't, because I'm trying to figure it out.
Please. And it's gotten to that point where I literally would love to sit down, and that might be something that we do on the show, where I sit down with someone who is gung-ho about voting for him, and I want to know, okay, well, if you're not a racist and, everything is okay mentally, what makes you think that it's okay to vote for this man? What is so appealing? What is so alluring? What is he talking about that makes you say, yes, this is the right choice? Because you've seen what he's done for the past 4 years. When they say, oh, well, we're afraid of Joe Biden's America, we're living in Trump's America right now.
Right.
So would you want 4 more years of what is happening? This man has taken your quality of life away from you. We now have to wear masks wherever we go. We have to we should have been washing our hands anyway. Some of y'all nasty. Sanitize everything, social distancing. You can't hug your loved ones who are in the hospital. You can't go see them.
Can't say goodbye to them either.
Can't say bye to them. He's threatening to take away your health care. The racial tension is at an all-time high right now. Like, what about this man makes you say, I want to vote for him because this is the type of America that I want to live in and not be racist?
Yeah, and at what point do we say, I understand everybody has a right to their opinion and the way that they feel, but at what point do we say, like, maybe that's not right? We so gung-ho on being politically correct and make sure everybody has their voice and their time to speak that, like, maybe you shouldn't think that way. Yes, Columbus Day was turned to Indigenous Day because it should have been, because it was wrong. How about we get with the new? And it's like those same people with those same ideologies that say, oh, shut up when the police pull you over. Oh, Columbus was a good guy. This, that. The same people are saying this about Trump. He's the best president we've ever had. He's done the most we've ever had. Where? Is it because you're making money and you're getting those tax cuts and tax breaks? We all know some. But are you willing to sell that in exchange for your soul?
Exactly.
To come if we continue to have him in office.
Exactly. And if he was such a stand-up guy, why are they going through the measures that they're going through to try to get him back in office? With the tampering of ballots and the fact that you had brought up a good point about how Virginia, their voter registration website completely shut down within hours of the deadline. Why are we going through all of this? And I say this if you guys already know what's happening, so let me fill you in. In California, a few members of the Republican Party there decided to set up ballot boxes all over the state and essentially try to get people to put their ballots in there. Now, their argument is saying that they want to collectively, help the Republican vote and gather all the votes. So, it's easier for people. But this is illegal. This is illegal. So why in the world would you be going through this much trouble to try to get people to drop off their ballots or get them to vote? And a reminder, early voting for North Carolina starts tomorrow? Yeah, but if you knew he was such a stand-up guy, why are we going through all of this?
All the darkness is coming to light. All the stuff that we as a people, Black people, minorities, people of color in this country have complained about for years. Everybody was like, oh, you're delusional. Life is not really like that. It's coming to light now, and it's affecting everybody. So now it's like, oh, snap. What is this? My liberties are at stake. I don't know what's going on. And it's like, hello, it's always been like this.
Hello.
But
Hello.
To openly, outright, and say, hey, yes, we tampered with the ballots, that's illegal. Why are these people still in office and still being able to do what they've been able to do this whole time? I don't understand. Where is the slapping the book for them, slapping the wrist for them? Where is that?
Nope, not happening.
I will say this, because the last clip we saw was in Georgia. Shout out to the people in Georgia who stood in line for over 10 hours to vote early. People, please continue to do this. This is important. You see, they were trying to take our vote. All these people say our vote doesn't matter. If it didn't matter, they, like you said, it wouldn't be trying so hard, try to take it away if it didn't matter.
Exactly.
So please go out there and vote. I know things might not be the way you want it to be. It may not be the candidates you want to see, but vote for the ideals and the characteristics that you want of the person to be the president of this United States.
Exactly. If you can stand in line for a chicken sandwich, you can stand in line to vote.
That's right. And that chicken sandwich is good. Get the spicy one with extra
We're not doing that. Let's get to our... We're not doing that. First of all, they ain't paying no money. So that's number one. And secondly, we're not doing that. We're not doing But anyway, guys, we are going to get into our guests for the night. I'm so excited to have these lovely ladies on. I think that is so dope that the two of them had decided to step into the wine industry and do something a little bit outside of the box that I don't think too many people thought of, which essentially is hosting their very own wine tasting, but in the comfort of their house. But now that COVID has taken effect and, we are in a new normal, we brought them onto the show to let us know how virtual wine tasting is working for everyone. And just to give us more background about who they are and how they got started. So please welcome to the show, Shayla and Shauna of Wine Spencer. Hey, ladies.
Hi.
How are you?
You guys doing okay?
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good. So ladies, thank you first and foremost for coming on to the show. I really appreciate you guys. But let everyone know a little bit about Wine Spencer and how you guys got started.
Okay, so I'll start. So we originally started last summer, and probably 2 years ago, I wanted to do a wine blog and just learn about wine and share it with other people. And told Shauna, like, hey, I have this idea. I want to do a wine blog. And she was too busy to join in.
I just had a baby.
So,
let's clarify.
She had a good reason.
Let's be clear.
So I wrote some blogs, but really didn't feel confident enough, like, posting them anywhere. So I was just drinking wine and learning about it on my own. And then last year, Shauna said, hey, do you remember that wine blog idea? What if we do it and add in a tasting component? And I was like, sure, that sounds good. Like, I like hosting things. And so we both got our wine certifications last summer. And then Shauna came to visit me in New York. We went to a few wineries on Long Island, and then officially started Wine Spencer. And so our plan was to officially launch in March of this year, which was awful timing for COVID. And so, yeah, we definitely had to pivot and switch to virtual tasting.
Yeah, that video that you just showed was, we shot that in Phoenix in December. And it basically is nothing like what we're doing right now, because that was kind of our promo video for in-person wine tasting.
And it's funny because now that you guys were getting ready to launch in March, but you've completely transitioned over to virtual. how is that working for you guys?
Actually, we weren't really sure how people would respond to doing virtual tastings just because you're missing that like in-person dynamics. But surprisingly, we've gotten really good, responses and, feedback from those that have participated because it gives them an opportunity to gather with like their family members. So we've done, I just did like a birthday party on Saturday. So they did a virtual tasting and, had their parents involved and their siblings and friends, cousins. And so it's an opportunity for people to get together. Companies now are doing, thinking of holiday party ideas. And so this is an opportunity for them to have somewhat of a holiday party, even though it's not in person. So it's another opportunity for them to be able to have that employee engagement.
That's dope. That's really dope. And it was pretty cool because I was actually searching for like things to do, during a pandemic or, COVID, because a lot of things are still shut down, even though North Carolina is are we in phase 3, Precious?
2.5, I think it is.
Something like that. We don't know anymore. A lot of stuff that we used to do is closed. So I was trying to find different things to do. And when I was looking at like wine tasting and stuff like that, whoever does your SEO is amazing because you guys popped right up.
Thank you.
I'm like, and then on top of that, I was like, it's 2 young Black women who are in this industry. And what I'm loving is that I'm seeing more and more of us starting to, get, our feet wet a little bit, in the wine industry. So, I mean, how has that been for you guys? Have you faced any sort of, issues or any sort of trouble with, trying to get in?
So in the credentialing phase, I think it was really important for us to make sure that we did get that certification because we knew even if we had it, people would underestimate us. Like, what do you know about wine? Black people only drink sweet wines. Why would you even bother like learning about all of the different varietals? So we wanted to get that foundation so that we could really educate other people, but particularly people of color, about different wines and different wine styles.
And that's one thing that I do want to touch on because there's like an inside joke of Black people only drink Stella or whatever it's called.
Stella Rosa. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I know a couple of friends that are avid Stella Rosa drinkers.
And they like think that, okay, well, I've come up, in the game if I'm drinking Stella. But what are some, like, if you guys had to give us your top 3 that you think we as, Black women or even Black men who are trying to get their feet wet in the wine industry, what should we try?
I'd say a good transitional wine is Pinot Noir. So it's a lighter body, so it's not going to be like a full body wine like a Zinfandel. So a Pinot Noir would be a good transitional wine if you want to kind of branch out into something that isn't in that sweet category. I do know someone that she likes sweet wine. She likes Stella Rosa, and she started drinking Pinot. And I think it's not something, if you're used to sweet wines, just having it once might not be enough. You kind of got to, continue to drink it. So don't just try it one time and say, okay, no, I don't like this. I mean, your palate has to evolve. I mean, even for myself, I started drinking white Zinfandel. Like that was my first wine that I was exposed to. It was sweet. And at the time I was, fresh out of college, it was perfect. But I started trying different things, and now my favorite wine is Zinfandel. So it's completely opposite of a white Zinfandel. My personal preference isn't sweet wine. But there are people, they like what they like, and I understand that. But I would say if you're looking for something, to kind of transition, a Pinot Noir is a good transitional step.
And explain to the viewers what full-bodied actually means, in case they're not sure what that is.
So it's more of just like the feeling in your mouth, like the heaviness in your mouth when you're tasting it. Red wines get their, some people equate it to like bitterness from the skins of the grapes. And so that can equate to a higher bitterness when you're tasting it. And so some people equate like a fuller bodied wine because it has the skin contact compared to like a white wine, which you won't get that tannin because it doesn't ferment with the skins of the grapes.
Okay.
So my wine recommendation would be a Chenin Blanc because it's fruity, and so because it's fruity, you might perceive it as being a little sweeter, and so then it's like easy to drink. And I'd say the best Chenin Blancs are from South Africa, it's a pretty affordable wine region. So if you've never tried South African wine, makes that like a new place of discovery.
Okay. And I noticed that like a lot of people shop by where the wine is coming from. How important is that? Or is it just a preference?
When you say by where the wine's coming from?
Like there's some people that only get wine from Argentina or like drink wine from Spain. They have preferences of where it comes from.
I think it all depends on what you're looking for and maybe what you're eating. So they say like what grows together goes together. So if you're eating Italian food, like heavy pasta sauces, pizza, you're going to want a red wine. So like a Chianti, because that was growing in that region, a lot of tomatoes. So you're going to get a good wine from Italy. The same thing for Argentina. Chimichurri sauce is definitely like an Argentina, like table staple. And so you're going to want to pair it with a wine from Argentina. So that's one way to approach like pairing wine with food. But you can really just buy whatever works for you.
See, I got a question on that, and Kim's gonna laugh when I ask this. How do y'all feel, Shauna and Shayla? How do you feel about chocolate wine?
Girl.
I actually had one here in Arizona. There is a local winemaker that makes it. It's not my preference. You know, I never want to discount like, you know, a wine because there, you know, certain styles might be a preference for certain palates, and that's just not my palate preference.
And then as far as the virtual testing goes or tasting goes, how would someone go about scheduling that, or even like what would they need to prepare? Because I'm pretty sure people aren't going to get a box full of wine from you guys and be like, oh, have at it. So how does that work?
Yeah, so, you know, once we went virtual, we really learned a lot about just distribution of wine and access of wine. So what I might be able to get here in Arizona, Shayla might not have access to in New York, and that just goes into the distribution of wine. And so what we try to do, people submit a request on our website, winespencer.com, and so we have a couple different class offerings, or people can, you know, create their own type of offering. And we really try to find wines. So let's just say Black winemakers. That's been a very popular class for us. And so we try to locate the same wines for everyone, and they might be in different states. So that can sometimes be a challenge, like I mentioned, because of the distribution, but we do our best to try to provide recommendations on where they can purchase the wine, whether that be from the producer themselves. We've used wine.com, or just local wine shops. And then if we're not able to find like the exact same wine, because maybe someone lives in an area where they can't, you know, get it, then we'll just make alternatives that are, you know, typically from the same region, the same varietal. But we do our best to try to provide or recommend the same type of wine.
That is so dope. That is so dope. I am so proud of y'all.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of y'all. So, I guess if somebody were or wanted to go ahead and schedule that tasting, you guys heard it here. Just go on to winespencer.com, and these lovely ladies down here will be more than happy to help you out there. I think that is an excellent and phenomenal idea to do. Not sure where how the wineries are opened with you guys where you're at, but I know here in North Carolina, it's very slim pickings. And then also, why not support a Black business? So let's do our part, support these ladies and just help them any way that we can. Tell a friend. You guys offer gift cards or anything like that if somebody wants to do, or gift someone a wine tasting session?
We don't have gift cards. Oh, go ahead.
Book tastings as a gift, but not really a gift card format. They just kind of book it and
pay for it, and then we coordinate with them. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to do a surprise wine tasting / do a party for someone, then let's make it happen. I know a lot of wine drinkers out there. Let's all get together, support these ladies, have a wine tasting session, and just really do what it do. And make sure that you are following them on Instagram at @winespencer_, and show them some love, y'all. Show them some love.
Yes.
You know. And I thank you ladies so much. You guys are awesome. You guys are so, so dope. And as I always tell any of my people who come onto the show, would you be more than welcome to coming back onto the show?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hey, now we're going to have in the Divas Den wine tasting.
Yeah, we can do a wine tasting on the show.
Yeah,
We've done that before too.
Chit chat and all that after hours, because some things might be said once we start drinking. But thank you, ladies, so much. We appreciate you. And make sure you are please following and supporting Wine Spencer. Get your tastings. Go ahead and book that right now. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Bye. Thanks.
And while we're on the topic, because of course we're still trying to find things to do, try to find some sort of normalcy, during a pandemic. Precious and myself and a group of girls, we all got together and decided to do a sip and paint.
It was sip and sip.
Sip and sip. Yeah, that came up. But we decided to get together and just have, some girl time, just to try to make it as normal as possible. So let's go ahead and roll that clip just to show you guys what we did, because it was a lot of fun, right? Let's get into it.
Hey, y'all.
So the Divas decided to do something a little bit different. I feel like I'm yelling over LL Cool J. So the Divas decided to do something a little bit different this weekend. Everyone was tired of sitting at home, so we decided to have our own little paint party. And we got the help of our wonderful friend Simone, who is a dope artist. She is allowing us into her home to do our own little, wine and drinks?
Yeah, sip of wine. Hey, sip of wine. That's a sip of wine. That's the same thing. Yeah.
Hey, girl. Shout out to that royalty-free music. Hey, now.
Yeah.
But yes, I know, guys, I know it's been a tough year. 2020 has been hard on all of us, but if there's any way that you can just try to make it a little bit easy on yourselves, any way that you can just get together with loved ones, with friends, and try to make it as fun as possible. We are suggesting that, like we said, you have wine tasting, virtual wine tasting. Even if you don't feel comfortable meeting in person, you guys can host a Zoom party and have Shayla and Shauna do that with you guys. And like we said, do a paint party. Even if you don't have an instructor, because Simone is a dope artist, make sure you follow her. Just come up with anything, just to sit down, play music, eat, drink, and just have a good time. So,
it was very much needed. We don't realize how much we need it until it happens.
That part. But we definitely have more surprises for you guys. This season of In the Divas Den is going to be really personal. You're going to get a chance to tap into our lives and just see us outside more and doing different things. Super excited for what is to come. And of course, my all-time favorite holiday is coming up. Hey, Halloween. Halloween. Oh, Halloween. So we got a surprise with that as well. And also some really cool, some really dope social media new segments that we're going to start putting out there as well. We actually have a baking contest between Precious and Troy, and Kayla and myself. So be on the lookout for all
Troy, you find out about that right now. Yes, baby, we're going to be in a baking competition. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk, Troy. But thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys so much. We missed you so much. Make sure you are sharing, liking, following Wine Spencer, SoFab Kim,
the Precious One, all of them.
Make sure you are following us, and we will see you guys next week. Don't forget to vote. Early voting. Yes. Go and vote. Yes. All right. Bye, y'all.